Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about starting out on YouTube in 2024. What advice am I following? Do I have a plan going into this? What tips and tricks have I learned that have helped me so far and maybe I can pass on to you? So stick around and maybe you'll learn a thing or two, maybe you won't, maybe you already know all this, maybe you watch the same people I do, maybe you already have a plan yourself. I want to start out by talking about what I'm really focusing on. So a majority of my videos are talking about physical media. And I choose to talk about physical media because I'm passionate about it. I collect it. It's something that I know about and follow closely. So it's essentially a hobby for me that I have turned into a YouTube channel. Now for years I had watched YouTube channels like Films at Home and other collectors on the YouTube scene. Obviously outside of physical media, you could also say gaming channels like PewDiePie. You could also say other gaming channels like Last Gamer. There are a lot of channels out there that focus on physical media. So I am kind of like taking lessons from what they did early on and just focusing on the content. Like realistically, I'm not too concerned about growing a massive audience at the start, or like I need to hit X amount of views, or even making money. I mean, making money is a way distant thing, and I'm not even really thinking about the money. It's more of me joining the community and using my voice to, yeah, grow the hobby amongst other people, and obviously people are finding my videos and enjoying what I'm talking about. I mean, physical media is something that it does have a collector's status. So one of the things I really am focusing on is keeping it as a hobby rather than a career. Like once you start turning it into a job, that's when it starts feeling like work. And if you love what you're talking about, if this makes sense, I think there's a quote around this. If you love what you're talking about, it will never feel like work. So that's what I'm trying to stick to. I don't want this to become work. I'm like, if it's a hobby that people gravitate towards, great. But even if I get 2 views and 1 comment, I'm always looking at that as like, oh, people have actually taken time out of their day to listen to me. And that is also a win for me. Now, why did I decide to start in 2024? Well, I was watching a YouTuber, or he is pretty famous, I think. I think he's definitely got a lot of money, I think. I've looked up his net worth. He is very successful. Myron Golden. And what he says is different to other YouTubers and like anyone else on YouTube. So often they all tell you about, oh, you've got to invest all your money in the stock market and you've got to do this and you've got to do that and don't do this without saying this. And Myron Golden, for when I was watching him, he would never say that. Like he would obviously give you some advice and talk about these are the things he would do. But a lot of the times he tells you just talk. Like talking is part of YouTube. And if you're a really good talker, then you will grow a following. And maybe it's a smaller following. It doesn't have to be a massive blow up of followers and having all this sort of fame and fortune and all that. Like, just talk. And, you know, it may be a niche following, it may be a bigger following, but do not focus on the following. Focus on doing content that matters to you. And he said something along the lines of all the successful entrepreneurs over history have all been great talkers. There is a reason why people like Steve Jobs will go out and was so ingrained in the identity of Apple back in the day that, you know, he would obviously have a team of scientists who would be developing the iPhone, but Steve would always do stuff like take it to market, and that was because he was a very good talker. He knew how to relay the information that needed to be relayed, and that is why the success of Apple was in large part on the back of Steve Jobs and the re-emergence of Apple. Obviously, he was involved in the original Mac. He went away from Apple for a lot of years and then came back in the 90s and re-emerged as a powerhouse. So obviously I'm looking at stuff like that. I'm studying entrepreneurs, what they did. I'm studying YouTubers. Obviously YouTubers I follow like Tyrone Magnus, for example. He does reaction videos and he has a market and he also, in every video up until he hit 1 million, he does 10 million subscribers now. He says 10 million subscribers at the end of each video, but I started watching him and he was still doing 1 million subscribers. Woo! Like, that is, he's projecting that he wanted to reach that, and he did reach it eventually. But that's the thing, it's like I'm not gonna really focus too much on getting all these subscribers. The people will come if my content is good and if they enjoy what I talk about. And that's what I'm really focusing on to start out on YouTube in 2024. Obviously, I am focusing on the brand also. Like, I have ideas for later videos. I have all this stuff that I have kind of in mind. But first and foremost, like, this is the thing. You can polish a turd and it will still be a turd, you know? And yes, I could add all this production value. I could go out and run out and buy all this gear and do high-end edits and focus all my time on editing and all this other stuff. I could do all this. Like, it's definitely in the realm of possibilities. But at the moment, I haven't even got the basics down. So I'm focusing on basics to start with. And the basics for me is content. Focus on the content. The passion. Focus on what you're passionate about. So what are you passionate about? Physical media. What else am I passionate about that I have been talking about quite a bit on this channel? Wrestling. I'm also passionate. I'm wearing a Roman Reigns shirt. Like, most of my videos, I'm wearing wrestling shirts. Now, it's not something I've went into too in depth because obviously wrestling for me, I want to say that I don't want to delude my focus too much. So physical media is where I'm starting out with, but I will eventually start making wrestling videos as well, like about, not so much the week to week, but like maybe I pull out a DVD or Blu-ray off the shelf and talk about why certain matches on events work, what I like about those. That's more of a long-term strategy. But you've also got to be yourself. Like, this is one thing I learned really early on even just being around YouTube. All the YouTubers I like to watch are all themselves. They tend to up the volume a little bit, obviously. At YouTube, you don't want to watch a boring personality. But, you know, as I said with Tyrone Magnus, he is a reaction YouTuber, but he has a way to not exaggerate, but like react in a way that I would probably react to most trailers and what comes out and news. So he's someone I gravitated towards. I've been watching Tyrone Magnus since his first John Cena prank call reaction that I think he's since deleted. But, you know, you can study YouTubers and what made them successful. Like, look at Smosh. Smosh were not big immediately. I mean, obviously they've been around since the foundation almost of YouTube, but Smosh were not immediately successful. They had built that following, and obviously they started out doing lip syncs to themes like Pokemon theme song and so on. Like, they had a following that they built over time. And then as soon as they got really good at it, then they did stuff like Pokemon in real life, which is where I first really got behind Smosh. So my main focus for starting YouTube in 2024, content, get the content right first. If the content is not right and you're not passionate about it, yeah, you can go out and make all these videos you want. You can add X amount of dollars to this production value, but it's going to be work and you're not going to be passionate about it. And for you, you're not going to really feel into it. I love what I'm talking about. I love that I'm jumping on here and even trying like that. And that's in part from me watching Myron Golden, because he has convinced me that I do have a voice and nobody else has a voice like mine. I'm not trying to be the next Tyrone Magnus. I'm not trying to be the next Myron Golden. I'm not trying to be the next Last Gamer. I'm not trying to be any of these people. I'm trying to be the first of me. And for years and years, when I was building my physical media collection, I had not intended to share my collection. My mentality was that this is a little thing for me that's on the side. I'll come home to it. It'll be my little escape from everything else in the world. I had started recollecting. I had an original Blu-ray collection and DVD collection that I've talked about many times. I may have to do a longer video on it, but I had taken them out of their covers, kept the discs, threw all the covers out. And I hated that. I went to digital for a few years and then came back and I had to recollect everything because it drove me insane that I didn't have the covers if I had just kept the covers. But that's the thing, like, I turned to physical media back to physical media from streaming after a few instances. Obviously, there was an instance of iTunes kept taking movies off me that I had paid for and would not reimburse me for them. My whole iTunes collection got upgraded to HD essentially, but there were certain movies that they would not upgrade, even though everyone else was getting upgraded for free, and it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And then also the whole thing around streaming about everything has to have a streaming service these days, and it kind of feels like we're going, if you live in Australia, it kind of feels like we're going back to the pay TV Foxtel days of doing things, where everything is just like some absurd amount of monthly fees that you just have to kind of pay. And that's not a knock at Foxtel. Foxtel has gotten really good in the past couple of months with Binge. They've been focusing very much on Binge, the Foxtel company. And I think that is what I definitely have Binge. Like, that is something that I use for WWE. Since they've put all the channels on there, I've been very much watching them. It feels like a modern template of Foxtel. Because back in the day, Foxtel was great, but it was very expensive. It's always been expensive. And now it feels like you can get those as part of Binge, and that's great. Obviously, I watch WWE on there, so that's my main reason for having it. And they don't sponsor this video. I don't have any affiliation with Foxtel or the Foxtel company or Binge. But this is the thing, like, I am really focusing on this as a hobby and just talking to the community. Like, you know, so often we feel like, well, the YouTube ship sailed 10 years ago. I'm too late to it. It's not going to work. It can't be me. Why can't it be you? You are unique, and you should promote that you are unique. I mean, we live in a day and age where everyone can have a voice online if you choose to. And don't focus on the wrong things. I will say that right now. Do not focus on the wrong things. Don't focus on the money. Don't focus on being rich, famous, whatever you need to do. Focus on your audience. If your content is good, the audience will come. From there, the world is your oyster. Like, just focus on something that you're passionate about, that you can talk forever about. Like, I can talk for ages about physical media. I can talk for ages about wrestling. And they are the foundation of my channel. And I don't really want to stray too far from that. I want to really stick to those topics. I want to, eventually I might make a shorter documentary or something along those lines for YouTube that are outside of those, which I'll probably put in my Storytime tab or something. But it's not something that I'm really focusing on to start with. It's something that is a long-term project that I would obviously see as work, but I would not want to dilute what I'm actually doing right now, which is focusing on content, what I'm doing, where my mind is, and learning what works, what doesn't. I mean, yes, as I said, production value for right now, I could add a bunch of lights. The first thing I really invested in for this YouTube channel was the microphone. I've got a Rode microphone, which I'm going to pick up now. They had the guard, so they had all Rode stuff on it, so I bought a new one. I got this from Kmart, bought the cheapest mic from Kmart and just replaced it onto the microphone. But underneath this is a Rode microphone, and it's a wireless Go 2. So early on I knew sound had to be good. Everything else can fall into line, like the picture. I'm shooting this at 4K 60 on my iPhone. Like, you have every mean to do what you need to do. And you don't have to feel like you have to run out and buy a $300 whatever microphone. Kmart sell great microphones for really cheap. And yes, they do have an audio buzz on them, which is what annoyed me. But, you know, if it's that or nothing else, or shooting on your iPhone even has a microphone built in. There are ways that you can make high quality content on what you've got, and that is what I'm focusing on. I want to make this as portable as possible so that I can just throw it in a backpack, and if I'm going out somewhere, I can film a quick video. And that is where my mind is at with this YouTube channel. It has to be portable, it has to be something that I can do, and it has to be something that I'm passionate about, that obviously viewers will gravitate towards if they feel the same way. So that is what my focus is early on, and I'll probably do updates I'll make this some sort of series where we do updates on my channel as we go along, if it grows, if it doesn't grow, what I would do differently. But for right now, my mind is on content and just enjoying the experience, you know. Too often we get caught up in thinking about a next career, thinking about this, thinking about growing, thinking about making internet money or whatever. I'm not about that. I'm just about, let's just enjoy the fun of it. I have a job, and I'm fortunate to have a job. Obviously, if the YouTube thing was to take off and I was earning YouTube money and it was better than what my career was paying me, I would have a look at it when that happens. But for right now, I focus on my viewers. I focus on who's watching these videos. I do read the comments. I don't respond to every comment, but you'll see that there's a like on there if I've read it. Like I'll like the comments and I'll read along and see what everyone's saying. And sometimes the viewers will tell me what they want to hear. Like, so often I've heard things. I heard a comment a couple of days ago about, oh, can you show us how to play Scream on Laserdisc? Can you show us a few scenes? And I read that and I was like, yeah, that would be good, but I have to be careful with copyright with that. So obviously I'm looking at how to do that without getting flagged for copyright. It might be an instance of pausing the Laserdisc, showing what certain scenes look like. I don't want to show too much gore in them because obviously I don't want to, flag the YouTube algorithm. But I'm definitely looking at how best to cater to my viewers. And organic growth is important. Like, to me, I would rather have 25 real followers who follow the channel and watch all the videos and comment and engage with them, rather than have 1 million views, 10 of which are actually people engaging with the channel. Like, for me, it is something of growth, of like, I would rather have real followers who care. And I'm going to end it there because I've went for 16 and a half minutes, and I'm sure that you guys love hearing me talk if you've stuck around this long, but that's where we're at with my YouTube channel at the moment. We are focused on a lot of things, but we are focusing our primary energy on the things that matter. And right now, the things that matter are getting the content, learning how to do content properly. Production value will come later. I'll add lights or whatever if it takes off. But it's about getting the basics down first. And then once I have the basics down, then you build on it from there. Rome wasn't built in a day, as the saying goes. And I will grow eventually. It's just a matter of right now, my mind has to be on getting more confident in front of the camera, getting more confident talking, getting better at talking. Like, even like just talking in a way a bit slower, a bit more YouTubey, for lack of a better word. Like, I talk very fast, so I have to slow it down a bit. And obviously not everyone will catch every word. So I need to be aware of my audience, and I need to be aware that I talk very fast. But for right now, thanks for watching this video, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.